What is up, diecast collectors? This is 9446 Network, back with another diecast review, and today we're going to get an in-depth look at Lionel Racing's 2022 Next Generation NASCAR diecast. And I'm proud to announce it, the Flashracer Cup Series Season 4 will have next-gen 164s for diecast racing competition. And it's going to be really exciting. The competition debut for this next-gen car will be at the Flashracer Cup Series Clash at the Charlotte Roval. Yeah, that's right, folks, the Charlotte Roval. We are going to bring these cars. It's going to be awesome for the Clash. And then the Daytona 500. So without further ado, let's get a look at each of these manufacturers' cars. So we're going to take a look at since this is the one that got released first, let's take a look at the Toyota. And we've done a video on this car, so we won't spend that much time with it in this video. But here it is, the Toyota Camry next-gen car that we reviewed earlier in the year. But this is an absolutely incredible mold for Toyota. They're bringing this car back, and this is the oldest model for NASCAR since it's outdone the Chevy SS. It's outdone a lot of the other cars. It's lasted since 2017, but there's a catch to this one, folks. This one is a TRD model, so you could see the little side skirts to it. It's got like the rear diffuser decal as well as the actual one, which we'll be taking a look at all those features later. But this is a TRD, so it's not an XSE like the original one. This is a TRD. And as you can tell, they're all built the same. They all have the rear diffuser on the bottom of the car. As you can tell, it's the same as the Chevy. And the only difference that I see from car to car is the label that is underneath. So you could say Toyota trademarks, and then, of course, the 2022 Camaro under license. And here is the Mustang one underneath. 2022 Ford Mustang under license. But this right here is the Toyota Camry. And as you can tell, we're going to get close looks at the mold of this new Toyota. Very, very cool. We're going to test these cars out. We are going to be testing the Flashracer Cup Series race package with these cars during test sessions, and this is what Toyota is going to have. So, we've seen the Toyota before, but now it's time to take a look at the newest ones to be released. The Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE. And it's absolutely a beautiful looking car. And as you can tell, the decal package, besides the big front grille, is almost the same, but a little bit different from the Gen 6 to just fit the new mold to it. But it looks awesome. Really, really cool. It still looks like the street car. Even though the 2018 Camaro looked a little bit more like the street car, this here is going to help them perform well on the NASCAR track. And it absolutely looks incredible. And of course, yes, fictional teams are coming back, which means I had to get multiple Camaros to make customs with them. As you can see right there. They are the same because I'm going to be building Flashracer Motorsports cars out of these. And they are going to be the next gen, and you will be able to tell because it's, once again, let's get a closer look at the undercarriage of the car. As you can tell, very, very flat compared to the Gen 6. It's got a rear diffuser, and here's what a Gen 6 car looked like underneath compared to the next gen. Let's see, compare this. Wow. And it looks like the wheels got a lot thicker on these cars as well, and the axles are way more sturdy. And you can even see the size difference. The Gen 6 car is huge compared to the Gen 7. I mean, look at how much the back sticks out on the Gen 6, whereas, as you can see, the next gen looks a lot different. And as you can tell, here's the front nose. Overall, the Gen 6 car was way bigger than the Gen 7. The Gen 7 is definitely more compact. And if you do look at these splitters of these cars, I can't really tell if the Fords and Chevys got the indents in the splitter. It doesn't look like they did. But the Toyota one does have it, as you can tell. You can see there's a little bit of an indent. So the Toyota got the splitter, but the Fords and the Chevys did not. But you could tell that they were still flat. Whereas the Toyota was the only one. And I'm going to compare that really, really close right here. As you can see, the Toyota has a little indent in the splitter right there. but the Camaros and Mustangs do not. In real life, they all do, but this is how it is for the diecast mold. And we're going to be comparing them close together later, but this Camaro looks really cool. You could see the rear quarter windows molded out to look like an actual street Camaro. And you even have the little outline as well with the little boltings in it, as that's where the actual car's rear quarter windows look like. But of course, the OEMs are free to customize this so that they don't all look the same. And as you can tell, that's exactly what they've done here. All of them are powered by biofuel. That's a new feature. The Gen 6 cars also had it, but they got it a little bit later on. But yeah, as for the diffuser, still the same, and it sticks way out underneath, as you can tell. And of course, we're going to take a closer look at the body shape after we look at the Mustang, because here it is. There's the Mustang, and yeah, the headlights are a bit wonky on this one, but it won't matter because it's going to be turned into Izzy B's Mustang. We don't know what team she'll be racing for next year as of this video, but we have a mold to build a car. And here is the Ford Mustang. And let me compare the sides of the car, because sometimes the sides shapes... Oh, okay, so you kind of see like there's a little bulge on the Toyota rear fender right there. Whereas the Mustang is a little bit more flat and sleek, as you can tell. They have different side flares to them. The Camaro has the little muscles on it, as I like to call it, like right there, kind of just comes down a little bit, and it just sticks out more flat compared to the others, but they're all resembling their street car sides, which I think is really cool. But back to the Mustang mold. This here, as I mentioned in my Harvick gear wrench video, looks like they've mixed a Cobra and a GT. So they got the front of a Cobra and the back of a GT. Really, really weird decision for that. But it was done. And here's the rest of it, as you can tell right there. They want these cars to look more like the street cars you can go out and buy. And here's the rear quarter window shape for this car. And I don't know if it's me, but it looks the same as the Toyotas. Let me see if I can get a closer look at that. If I can get the camera. I'd say out of all the rear quarter window designs, the Camaro is the most different, as you can tell. It's just curved up, whereas it just kind of goes towards the back and curves down. But yeah, as you can tell, the Mustang mold. And of course, how did I not bring this up? Let's look at the rims, the single lug. I mean, diecasts have always been single lug, but of course, now it's really meant to be a single lug. And let's see. Let's get a closer look at the rims. Let's compare it to the Gen 6, because that one had the 5/6 lug nuts. So here it is. The wheel seems to be almost the same dimensions, except it's a lot more of a wider tire. The track, well, not the track width, the tire width, as you can tell, is a lot different. And of course, the main thing that was being replaced, the rims of the car. Let's get a closer look at that. So as you can tell, very fire truck looking wheels for the Gen 6. But of course, now the Gen 7s look more like race cars, which is really, really cool. But of course, the bigger wheel is causing the tires to go out, which is really sad. Hopefully they can fix that. But, you know, as you can tell, 15-inch wheel versus almost the 18-inch wheels. My goodness, man. This is absolutely going to be different for next year. And like I said with that big-ass diffuser, you could see the gas tank right there and the diffuser right there. It's a lot different right there, as you could tell. My God, that's just incredible. And of course, remember this car right here that had the curved out, skewed rear end with the Gen 6? And here's what the Gen 7 looks like, just perfectly symmetrical as compared to the other one, as you can tell. Very, very much different. And of course, the spoiler height. My God, the spoiler height. For the diecast, they're going to be huge, but in real life, that does change. Just like the Gen 6, it used to change when we went to different tracks, as you could tell. So that's going to be interesting right there to point out. So, you got that going on. And of course, just the entire body shape is almost completely different, as you could tell. just a smaller roof on the Gen 7 as compared to the Gen 6. The Gen 6 had a huge roof. The windows pieces are also different as well. It's a little bit smaller on the Gen 6, whereas it's kind of bigger on the Gen 7. And it looks to me that all the cars on the Gen 7 have the same back glass. Let's compare the Mustang to that. It's about the same back glass. But of course, the only thing that changes from car to car is the rear quarter windows, which are these windows here. But the back looks to be the same. The back glass looks to be the same from car to car, as you could tell. And that is really it for the next gen cars. And I gotta tell you, the symmetrical body to the car is gonna make the cars a lot harder to drive. And it has for the real life drivers. And as for the racing, the cars are definitely a lot more harder to drive and a lot more challenging. And it's also very, this car can literally be raced anywhere. These cars were really can be ran anywhere. It's almost like a hybrid of road courses, ovals, dirt, the Le Mans racetrack. Wow, these cars are very, interesting, as you can see. But here's a Mustang compared to a Camaro. And here's the Camaro compared to the Camry. And the Camaro, or the Camry, compared to the Mustang. And out of all the cars, the most aerodynamic, I would say, is probably the Toyota. I mean, they never changed this design because it's the most aerodynamic and it's their best race car. At least I can get a closer look at how pointy that nose is. Very, pointy, very angular. And the Camaros still have that point to them a little bit, but it's a little more rounded off. At least if I can get the camera to view that. As you can tell, there is a distinct bulge that sticks out, and it's a little bit more pointy, but the Camry has those two little spikes in the front. And of course, here's the Mustang with the, so you got the two spikes on this one, the point in the middle of the Camaro, and now we have the shovel nose of the Ford Mustang. As you can see, very flat in the front right there, as compared to all the others. And even when you flip it over this way, you can see it's very flat. And of course, the hood vents also do kind of look different. I know the Camry promo doesn't have it, but in terms of hood designs, let's compare the Mustang a little, because you can kind of see it. It's a lot more thinner and a lot more straight, whereas the Camaro has it almost kind of small and pudgy, so to speak. But that air is going through there, and sometimes that could change from track to track. Oh yeah, you also have the ZL1 logos for the manufacturing details. And those are all the next-gen car molds. The Ford Mustang, which is this number 41 car here. The Chevy Camaro, which is this number 9. And the 22 of this Toyota Camry. What do you guys think of next-gen diecast? Did they live up to your expectations? Now, the one thing I will say that I hope does improve is the decal quality. And what I mean by that is sometimes we get cars like this where the headlights are all wonky still. As you can see, that's a little bit off. Some air bubbling going on. You know, if you do look past... Oh, yeah, wow, I didn't even notice this, but there's even a decal fold right there. Yeah, decal quality has not changed since Gen 6. But I am going to be patient this time around because this is their first time working with this mold. I'm probably going to make some mistakes myself. But that is something that has to improve later on. But as of the molds of the Lionel cars seem to be their strong suit. Definitely not their decal quality. Their molds are better than their own decal quality, which is insane. That's their strong suit right there for them. So, that's really all I gotta say. Oh yeah, one more thing. I mentioned this in the Toyota review. These cars are made with rivets. So yes, there's nowhere for me to pry it open with a screwdriver without screwing up the wheel. So yes, I'm going to have to change my ways of doing these customs and use the drill to undo these cars. Other than that, everything else is the same. Now, I really hope that down the road they don't do it this way, that they just give us they just make the wheels more, or not the wheels, I should say, the screwdrivers instead of these rivets. Now, I can't believe I noticed this, but is it me, or the wheels of the Mustang look bigger than the Camaro? Almost, I don't know, maybe it's because the car's black and I can't really see it, but it does look like it has a bigger wheel. Wow, that's interesting. Even the Camry is a little bit smaller. But that is one thing I noticed last minute that I did not realize before. The wheel sizes also changed from manufacturer to manufacturer. Now the Mustangs, for some reason, let me see if I can, maybe I'm just hallucinating. Let me get a closer look at this. Let me compare the Camry to the Mustang. It does kind of look like the wheel is bigger and longer. I don't know how that would be the case. But yeah, I'm really got to get analytical with this. It almost seems like, oh wow. So it's not that much different, but there is probably bigger by maybe a couple of inches, maybe a couple of centimeters, just a bit different, the wheel size. But if I get closer, it starts to look the same. Let me get the other Camaro. So that's the front wheel tire width. I don't know about the back. Let's take a look at the back. Maybe I'll be able to tell more. Let me see if I can... Oh, my eyes are probably playing with me. Yeah, it was worth comparing. Let's take a look at the rear of the Camry, the wheels. Man, those diffusers make these things look really different. Yeah, they're almost the same. I don't know if it was me noticing it, but I did want to take a look at that just to make sure. I do want to get as close as I can to these things. Here's the wheel comparison of the Mustang and the Camaro. As you can see right there, or the mold and everything compared. Diffusers look to all be the same. The only thing that changes from car to car is the nose, the rear, the sides, just pretty much the body to it. But the overall template for the body itself is the same. They're all symmetrical. And one more thing I'm going to show off here. The car's rollability. It's as compared to the Gen 6. So, as you can tell, they had really bad issues, the Gen 6, with the working suspension. But so far, these cars look like they're pretty balanced. They are slammed. They are absolutely a lot better because these Gen 6 cars... This one here was all... Okay, there you go. You see how that one kind of wobbles? I don't get any wobbliness out of the next gen mold. So it seems like it should be okay there. But the rolling, let's see how they roll. So, as you can tell, they roll a lot better, as you can tell. Like, unless you get a wobbly wheel, like the Mustang here, I might have to work on that, because that wheel does wobble a little bit. Unless you get a wobbly wheel, you might get some speed out of these things. Which is really going to be interesting for diecast series, because that's what people are really going to be doing with these cars. But that is it, folks. That is all I've got to say about the next-gen cars, and as you can tell, they really like rolling. But as you can tell, there they are. Once again, final look. The Flash Racing Cup Series Season 4 is going to be a really interesting season for diecast racing. It's the first with these next-gen cars. And I really hope you guys tune in for it. I would love for you guys to see some of those races when they come out. Now, one more little PSA announcement. The Flash Racing Cup Series Season 4, it will have the 2022 roster, but it may not be happening in 2022, because if you guys remember this, it takes almost an entire year to collect paint schemes, and because now there's going to be a bunch of secondary paint schemes, that's going to take a long time to collect. So you might have to wait till 2023 to get races, but building the customs, collecting the paint schemes should not be a hassle throughout the year. But to start a season, you really have to have the 40 cars, 39, 38 cars to do a season. So you will have to wait a bit on that. But it will be coming, guys. It's not canceled. It will be coming. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review of these cars. We might be taking a closer look at the liveries of these paint schemes in their own videos. For instance, that Haas one and that Hendrick. Even though the Hendrick one just has just the white with the Chevy logos and stuff, the Hendrick, so it doesn't seem like it's that much to review. The Haas one, there kind of is a paint scheme, so we might review that one. But yeah, there are going to be customs. These right here are the donors. Don't worry, I have duplicates. I did pick up, because if you guys remember, the Camaro had its duplicate, and I have a Mustang here, so yeah, thank you guys for checking this one out. Now, I did not find the Kozlowski or Suarez, and there's probably another one that I'm missing that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they may be coming at some point, so those cars may be getting reviews, because they have actual paint schemes that I can review. And the number 5 car, oh, that was the one. which was almost the same as the 9. But anyways, guys, I really hope you guys enjoy it. Next-gen hype, the next-gen cars are here. Let's see how well Lionel can do with a new mold this year, and how the Flash Racing Cup Series is going to happen this year, or next year, probably. How these next-gen diecasts perform. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next diecast review. This one here was a diecast analysis. But thank you guys for checking this one out. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next diecast review. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals in your diecast.